SNP Westminster leader Ian Blackford suffered an intense grilling as he denied his party's plan to scupper Boris Johnson's Brexit deal and put the UK at risk of a no-deal scenario 2 days before MPs will vote on the Prime Minister's agreement with the EU. The SNP MP was confronted by Times Radio host Tom Newton-Dunn over his party's plan to vote against Boris Johnson's Brexit deal in the Commons on Wednesday. The radio host pointed out Mr. Blackford, who had been an adamant opposer of a no-deal scenario, was in fact missing the only opportunity to vote for the only alternative to WTO solution. Mr. Newton-Dunn said, "So, your party is adamantly against no deal, but in effect on Wednesday you are voting for precisely that by voting against the only deal on the table and effective. How on earth does that work?" The SNP MP replied, "What we're doing is we're voting against the deal that the Prime Minister is putting in front of us, we're not supporting no deal. No deal is something that would be a disaster for all of us. The point that I think we're making, Tom, is that the best deal that we've got is the one that we currently have with the transition that we're still in the single market, the customs union. All the economic evidence, including that of the government, is that we're all going to be poorer with this deal." He added, "Quite frankly, particularly when you look at the impact of the pandemic on the economy as we stand, the fact that we're going to have a second hit as a consequence of this Brexit deal. What I would argue is, of course people in England voted for Brexit as they did in Wales, Northern Ireland through the Northern Ireland Protocol as getting access to the single market and the customs union. Scotland voted to remain and we sought to sign the compromise with the UK government over the course of the last 4 years and were getting battered. So the alternative for us is not no deal, the alternative for us is to make sure we have an independence referendum on the premise of an independent Scotland joining the European Union, keeping our access to the single market and the customs union and giving us that continuation of free movement of people and access to the Erasmus scheme and so on. So it's about the alternative there is for Scotland, not no deal." But the radio host hit back, "But as you know, the alternative is you vote for the Prime Minister's deal. If the House of Commons by majority votes against this deal, we will leave the EU without a deal. And that's precisely what you and your fellow SNP MPs are about to do, walking through the lobbies and do." It comes as MPs in Britain were preparing to vote on the deal in a special sitting of Parliament called for Wednesday. It is likely to pass through both houses, with Labour ordering its MPs to vote for the thin treaty because the only other option is a chaotic departure without a trade deal. The European Parliament must also formally ratify the deal in the new year, although this will now apply retrospectively. The agreement came as ministers stepped up calls for businesses and individuals to prepare for the new procedures that will apply in just 4 days' time, regardless of the agreement.